Serious, what is the most disturbing documentary you've ever seen? There's something wrong with Aunt Diane. That one messed me up for days. The Jared Fogle documentary was chilling. I've heard of pedophiles of course, but hearing actual audio, and how graphic he was, and so casual about it. I'm a true crime junkie, but something about that just made me sick to my stomach. Dear Zaki. Tell me who I am. It's imposter. Holy shit, was that weird. Yes, about people committing suicide off the Golden Gate Bridge. Tough to watch. Abducted in plain sight was wild. Love Has Won. The Cult of Mother God definitely has the most disturbing imagery I've seen in a doc. That act of killing. Jesus Camp. It's one thing if adults want to do that to themselves, but it's a whole other thing when you do it to kids. The Pat Tillman story, believe it's still on Tubi last I saw. Kind of a deep dive into what actually happened to Pat. The lies our country told us. Then the lies our leaders told the family to further their agenda. It's sad and disturbing. Paradise Lost, all 3 films. The West Memphis 3 story really lets you know how bad the law will screw you. Trials of Gabriel Fernandez is definitely the worst. The systemic failures for that kid are unreal. Stranger Than Fiction, but there's something wrong with Aunt Murder the Family Next Door. Night Stalker is one that will always stick with me. The one about Gabriel Fernandez. I watched a documentary about the tsunami in 2004. I had a very difficult time getting through it because they included footage and just seeing how devastating it was and how many people died. I still remember when it happened. It's Dear Zachary. American Murder the Family Next Door, about the guy who killed his wife and 2 baby girls. It was mostly home-made footage of the family day-to-day life. Conversations with a killer, all of them. Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, Bundy, etc. It just really makes you realize just how insane human beings can be. Gives me chills just thinking about it. I haven't watched a ton of documentaries, but to Amy Winehouse was real F sad. Her dad is a piece of shit. That poor woman just needed one person to look out for her. Dear Zachary, a letter to a son about his father. That's the most saddest, disturbing documentary I've watched. That legal system in Canada failed that poor baby and his family. I cried watching There's Something Wrong with Aunt Diane. Blackfish. Children Underground. Follows a group of street children who basically live in the underground train stations in, I think, Bucharest. Tickled. A journalist stumbles upon a specific fetish video of people being tickled and it rapidly derails. From there, I watched it on HBO. One wish I could remember the name. However, it was about a team that investigated tens of thousands of priests over many decades and found nearly all were sexual offenders with substantial evidence. The churches covered it up every time. Take Care of Maya. Just Melvin. Just Evil Shudder. 77 minutes. The Act of Killing and its companion film The Look of Silence. I saw one about Jimmy Savile on Netflix last year and it was very chilling. Just imagine seeing him as an adored celebrity. And then after his death, he is out as the most evil person in the UK and the BBC tried covering it up for years. It was fucked. Twin Flame on Netflix in Think. Super fucked up. American Murder. The Chris Watts story. This one fucking destroyed my soul knowing what the 2 girls went though. I sobbed. Dear Zachary. How to Die in Oregon. The part where the guy with cancer is told by his insurance company to consider assisted suicide, since they wouldn't cover his. Or Rose Cove Himbama. Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Ken Burns Vietnam. The Family in Netflix. All of the bullshit conspiracy theories about Jews controlling the world. The Family are the fundamentalist Christians that are actually doing that shit. The one that is shown in schools about killing dolphins and whales. That messed me up. The one about the young guy whose entire body peeled a layer of skin every day or when it was touched. Had to wear bandages, which also added to the problem. For me, it's Jesus Camp. Just a wild doc about brainwashing children into religion. Surviving R. Kelly. Maya Mile. I felt like I was going to throw up for a good chunk of it. Not the most disturbing one, but what was that documentary about the ticking fetish where the ones documenting it got involved or uncovered some big messed up conspiracy? Jonestown, The Life and Death of People's Temple. The Killing of America. Can't have a Reddit thread about documentaries without naming Dear Zachary. Joseph Fritzl. Don't fuck with cats. Animal abuse is just really sad. I watched one episode of The Keepers and felt so sick. I couldn't watch any more episodes. Still scared straight to original. Einsatzgruppe Nazi death squads, the atrocities committed against innocent men. Woman and children was pretty horrific. Also has some very graphic footage. Mommy dead, mommy dearest. Don't fuck with cats. Earthlings. The War on Jeff's Netflix series. Remain sweet, ask, and comply. Made me furious as hell. A trigger warning, I suppose. If you plan to view it, the audio recordings at the end show him raping girls, who are 12 to 13 years old. It's terrifying. Into the Abyss by Werner Herzog. The girl in the picture. I just watched 20 Days in Mariupol and that was a very hard watch. Extremely disturbing and heartbreaking. Moms selling their kids for sex. 2017 complex and chilling film about Filipino mothers who sexually abuse children live in front of webcam for money. Philosophy of a Knife. 2008. Bacha Bozzy documentary. Shit nearly broke me. I just watched 20 Days in Mariupol on YouTube. It's all real footage from the siege. And it shows the deaths of many civilians. It's very sobering. Good night sugar. Many people failed. Vera Joe. Dominion. 2018.2018 film. The scope of animal abuse in the world is just unfathomable. Just Melvin, just evil. House of Secrets. The Burari deaths. Earthlings. Kidnapped in plain sight. It was a giant WTF. God knows where I am. The diary of a mentally ill woman who has broken into an abandoned house in New England during a brutal winter. She is in hiding and slowly starving and freezing. To hypnotic and disturbing. The Bridge. To sit and watch someone pace back and forth for a length of time while tons of people around only to jump to their deaths and no one notice is awful. Chicken Hawk. Men who love boys. Here you go. Law 90 to about the 1990 to Los Angeles riots. The footage of the Fidel Lopez being attacked and tortured in broad daylight made me sick to my stomach. I'm just here to save the page so I know what to watch later. Life of Crime on HBO is a great documentary spanning nearly 4 decades into the lives of heroin addicts. Really shows how truly horrible drug addiction is on people and the families around them. Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, What the Health, Earthlings, Grey Gardens, Winter on Fire. This changed me forever. That broke my heart. I'm thinking Earthlings, it had some pretty rough videos of animal abuse and neglect. Powerful and heartbreaking, though some of those clips are definitely burned into my brain. Evil genius will blow you away. Dear Zachary, Earthlings, watched it in philosophy class, fucked me furt up. Probably capturing the 1/7 was pretty depressing. The Waco, Texas event a while back was pretty bizarre to watch and learn about. The corporation should scare the hell out of any citizen. Gabriel Fernandez, John Wayne Casey, Tell Me Who I Am, Faces of Death, Dreams of a Life, harrowingly tragic. The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez, Night and Fog, truly heartbreaking, especially since it was made shortly after the Holocaust. And W2, Something's Wrong with Aunt Diane. Show her, without a doubt. Pure Shit was a Melbourne, Australia move about heroin addiction in that town. Made by and acted by junkies, it was absolutely a real slice of that life. Mine is Black Tar Heroin. It stays with me. Just watching a bunch of young people really hurting and really harming themselves was gut-wrenching for me. The Falling Man, I remember seeing the commercial for it when I was a kid, always gives me chills. Opposite, I have chronic pain. I never had OxyContin, but I took oxycodone for use. OxyContin is the same thing with a slow-release coating. Luckily I'm not one of the 5 who experiences euphoria.